Once again, it's NCT time for this 1991 Mk2 Golf behind me here. But before I put it in for its test, it needs to have a few jobs done on it. It's slightly overdue a service at this stage. Not hugely, but slightly. And to be honest with you, there's no excuse for that because it's such an easy car to service. You know, I mean, we're going to change the oil filter, spark plugs, and for the moment I'm going to clean out the air filter in it. But what I am actually going to do eventually is I'm going to put a K&N air filter in it. Just the K&N element that goes in the existing filter box. Simply because the filter in these cars is actually too small and gets clogged up very quickly, so you find yourself changing the air filter quite regularly on them, whereas the K&N ones are cleanable and give better airflow. So it's definitely a worthwhile investment in my mind. They're about 45 quid, 45 euros, so they're not the cheapest things in the world, but it's a fit and forget type of thing. I mean, if you think about it, 4 services will pay for that then, you know. So without further ado, let's get under the bonnet and start servicing. Oh, and the other thing, there's a leak in the exhaust as well, so I need to have a look at that and see where it is. If we need to change the back box, we can do that. But if it's a case of any more major work than that, I'll probably just drop it in somewhere and get it done. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to crouch down and put my head between my legs and lean forward, because that's just how I roll. The drain plug is at the back of the sump, so having the car jacked up like this actually will help the oil drain out of anything. I think it's a 19, but I can't remember for sure. We'll find out soon enough. Hey, on the ball. Now the oil I'm going to be putting in is 10W40 semi-synthetic. Some people subscribe to the theory that mineral oil is better for these older engines, but there's detergents in the semi-synth that I think are just better for the engine. Now, I also haven't had the opportunity to warm this engine up, but it'll be alright. It'll be alright. We'll just let that drain out. I'm sure there's a little bit of dirty oil left in it. It's going to get picked up with new oil anyway and thrown into the filter. Won't be much anyway. And down the front of the engine here is where the oil filter lives, and because of the fact that it was me who changed the oil filter the last time, I didn't stitch it on. So it's hand tight, which is the way they should be. So yeah, I'm going to just throw another sheet or something down on the ground, because with the best will in the world you're always going to get a little bit of oil spilling out. Let's just see if I can pull the drain pan back. Oh, I can. There he goes. I might even catch it. Yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, I'll get the oil filter out, keep it upright, and then just pour it into the tray. I know this is not one of my most exciting videos, but sure, look it, this is what I'm up to, so I thought I'd get you guys to join me for the crack. Okay, there we go. That was actually well overdue an oil change, to be honest with you. Jesus. Alright, so while the oil is draining out, I'm going to leave it drain for a little while. Let's start changing the spark plugs. Simple enough, but I am going to gap them correctly because, well, why wouldn't I? You know, I have a feeler blade and I have the time, so let's just do it right. Okay, so if you're to use the original HT leads, you need to get a spark plug with a 21mm hex on it, because otherwise they won't stay on them. So the other thing you need to do is you need to remove the ferrule off the top of it, which is a little screw-on bit there, and the gap is 0.8mm. So you just basically get it in there, and that's her. Okay, so that one's fine. Okay, so let's change number 1. Alright, let's see what these are like. They're a slightly different plug to what I'm putting in, but to be honest with you, they'll do absolutely fine. Now these ones actually don't look to be too bad, and to tell you the truth, looking at the condition of those plugs, the engine is running really well. But there again, I know that already because I drive it regularly, so now just feed the new one in. There we go. And we just thread it in by hand first so we don't end up cross-threading it, because a cross-threaded spark plug is no fun whatsoever. The aluminium heads on Volkswagen Beetles are very prone to that, especially the stock heads with the shallow spark plugs. They're a pain in the face, to tell you the truth. I was half tempted to change the alternator belt as well, and I'm just looking at it there now, and I think I probably should have gotten a new one, but I don't actually have one now. It's on the to-do list. So okay, so that's spark plug on number 4 cylinder changed. There we go. I like these HT leads actually. They're a nice little snug fit. They don't have a tendency to pop off, or even come off when you want them to, for that matter. Come on. I was looking a little bit oily. Keep an eye on that. It's not really bad, but it's definitely wouldn't do it any harm to have them changed anyway. Okay, so one of the things I have learned from watching Vice Grip Garage actually is write the date and mileage of today's date and the mileage of the car on the oil filter, so then you know when it was last done. So we are 6th of the 3rd, 22. You know what? It's a very good idea, folks. And it has 118,000 miles, so 118k. Great. Okay, so at least that way then we have to look under the bonnet to see when it was last serviced. That's that. You'd have to use a paint marker to do it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fill this up with oil before I put it onto it. Give the engine a fighting chance and not run it without oil pressure for any length of time. I've already smeared a bit of oil on the O-ring, but yeah, I mean I would have been able to do that when I filled it anyway. So okay, she's full of oil now, so let's get it fitted. If the oil filter was more accessible, the sensible thing to do would have been to put the date and the mileage on it while it's fitted to the car, so it's in a visible location. But the problem is you'll never be able to write on it where it is. Well, you probably would have done, but anyway, look, we can probably turn it enough so that you can actually see it. And a bit on the oily side of things. Given the fact that the filter housing on the Toyota is plastic, I write it on the I write the mileage on the receipt for the oil filter and the oil, and at least that means I can keep track of it that way. So there we go. The filter's tight, and you can see the mileage on it down there. So that's great. So that's that done. So now the next thing to do is to pour 3.5 litres of oil into the engine. I'll put 3 litres in now for the moment, and we'll check it once it's off the jacks. Obviously, I'm going to put the drain plug in first, because that would be stupid. Just looking at the bottom of the engine here, one thing that's concerning me a little bit is this wetness around the bell housing. And yeah, I'm hoping that it's not the crankshaft oil seal, because that would really puncture my wheelchair now, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to wipe it off anyway, because it'll fail the NCT on an oil leak, which is bloody annoying. I mean, it's a 30-year-oold car. It's allowed to have a little bit of leakage, but what I'm also going to do is I'm going to just put a socket on those. There's two 10mm bolts up there on the sump, and I'm going to just apply a little bit of pressure on them and see if they're loose. Then we'll knit them up, and hopefully that's all it is. I don't think Mk2 Golfs are particularly prone to having crankshaft oil seal failure, to tell you the truth. So I gave it a coat of looking over, and we just have to wait and see. Look, my main focus here is just to get it through the NCT. It'll be grand. If it needs to be topped up every so often, it's not the end of the world, you know. I mean, if it starts getting serious, then we'll have a proper look at it then, you know. But anyway, so the spark plugs are in, the oil filter's on. Next thing to do is to actually put some oil in it, because we don't want to go off on a tangent here and forget to put the oil in. So yeah, we'll do that now. Easy off. The air in that is right in the way of the filler. Okay, so there's 3.5 of the finest litres of oil gone into it, and that should do the trick for the moment anyway. At least allow us to run it, and we'll check for oil pressure and all that. And yeah, we will let's see, of course there was a bit of spillage, for God's sake. I mean, geez, you can't get next or near the damn thing. I'm really glad I took the time to paint that rocker cover as well, or cam cover, because it looks so much better now that I painted it. The paint just walked off, Jesus, like. I know I didn't prime it or anything like that, but Jesus, I expected it to last a little bit longer than one service interval. Now, where's the oil filter, or the oil cap gone? There it is. Now, pop that back on. And we'll get you guys out of the engine bay and start it up. And check for oil pressure, and then we'll see. Oh, actually, before we do any of that, hold on, hold your horses there for a second now, hold on. Let's just check the air filter. I bet you it's like a solid turf now. Come on. There we go. Jesus. It's not great now, in fairness. It's fairly crusty. I think I better give that a clean. The oil on it is just from the PCV, the positive crankcase ventilation. So I'm not worried about that. But yeah, there is supposed to be a little yoke on the front to hold the air filter housing in place, but that got damaged a long time ago. Alright, I gave the air filter a little bit of a blowout. It's not really much better, to be honest with you, but I will stick a new one in it there now. The local motor factors actually ordered one in for me. They didn't have it in stock, so when that arrives in, I'll fit it for the moment anyway. It's 7 or 8 quid or something like that. Throw it in until I get the K&N air filter in it, because things like that are going to cause problems with fuel economy, and fuel economy, my God, is bloody important at the moment with the price of petrol the way it's gone. It's up to €1.95 per litre across the road now at the moment, so this car is not going to be getting as much use as a result of it. No one is doing 30 miles to the gallon on a Toyota over there doing 60, and much as it kills me to say that, it's just not economically viable, you know. I mean, and it's only going up. Look at, I mean, yeah, I suppose it's a small potatoes when you consider the plight of the poor people in the Ukraine at the moment and the shit that they're dealing with. But yeah, it's not right. Anyway, let's not get too much involved in politics here, but yeah, that's just my belief on it. So yeah, right, okay, so let's start the engine up, and we'll have a look and see if we can find where the exhaust leak is coming from. I know I still have it up on the jack, and that's simply because of the fact that I want to be able to look under it. I'll check the oil levels correctly now in a little while, but there's 3.5 litres of oil in, so that should be more than enough. There's the oil pressure light gone out straight away. I'm going to do a quick leak check. Right, come on under with me, we'll see if we can find this oil leak. Or, not oil leak, it's not leaking oil. The exhaust leak. So the easiest way to know if you actually have an exhaust leak is basically to put your hand over the exhaust, and if... I mean, look at that. The smoke is coming out somewhere else, alright. So, I'll just have a look underneath while I do that and see if we can see where it's coming out. There, look, just forward of the fuel tank. I think it's fair to say the back box has had it. Yeah, look, there as well. Hanging off it, folks. Gonna need a new back box. Let's just have a look at the other side of it. At least it's not too expensive. But to be honest with you, I'll probably put a whole system on it, because I think the baffles are gone in the centre box as well. Like, it's 30 years old, this exhaust has been on it since new. Look at that. Wrecked. Yeah. Forcing out of there. Alright, at least we know. So, have a look along. There's their centre box. And then the front pipe. So, I think we'll throw an exhaust on it. We'll see where we'll price it up and see what we're dealing with. She's ticking over lovely there now, I have to say. The new spark plug seemed to have cleaned up the idle a little bit there, I have to say now. It's really nice. Ticking over lovely. It's a great little car, and to be honest with you, it's well worth keeping in good order. Like, the thing is I actually bought this for my wife about 3 years ago, just before our young lad was born, and yeah, she loves driving it, and so do I in actual fact. I mean, it's lovely just to get into and take a little bit of a step back in time, but still have a few mod cons, you know. It's still got power steering, central locking and stuff like that, you know. But yeah, sure, look at I think what I'll do is I haven't got a back box to put on it there now anyway, so I'll either be getting somebody else to do it, or if I'm doing it myself, I'll get you guys in on it and you can have a look and see me doing the job. You know, we may do a whole system, and as much as it pains me to do it, and it's only because of the stupid C-clamps at the front of the exhaust. There's like these springy C-clamps that hold the front pipe onto the manifold, and they are a pain in the ass to put on or take off. So yeah, I mean, I'll think about it. I'll have a think about it, and if I do decide to do it, you'll see a video about it. But anyway, look at the next video is most likely going to be about me going down to collect the Beetle, because today is Sunday and I'm hoping to go down and collect it on Tuesday. So I'll be doing a bit of an adventure on that, because there'll be a bit of driving involved in it. It's not going to be just a case of me just gingerly bringing it home. I'm actually going to try and I want to go on a bit of a run up the mountains on it, and I want to drive it around the following day and then bring it into work and then home from work. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. There's no heaters in it yet. I've no heaters in it, and to be honest with you, I don't want to talk about mod cons. There aren't any. So yeah. Anyway, listen. Thanks for joining me, folks. I know it wasn't one of my most exciting videos, but nice job to get done anyway. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys again soon. And please don't forget to smash that subscribe button, folks. I think you have to say that in that stupid tone of voice in order for people to actually do it. Please smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that like button too. Oh, shut up, you idiots. God almighty, that's the only reason I hate saying I'm a YouTuber, because of these pillocks. Yeah, if you want to click subscribe, please do. If you don't worry about it. I'll chat to you soon.